Hi you guys, my name's Chandler. I'm out here with my dog Santo. We're just enjoying the Florida sunshine. It's a little hot out here. I may go in the shade in a minute. But thanks for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I haven't been posting very regularly, but I used to, and I plan to come back on a consistent basis. I do a lot of creative things. I do a lot of talking about things that interest me, like Jesus. I love Jesus. I love talking about my faith. I love talking about lifestyle. I'm also very passionate about restoring furniture and the things I do creatively. I love to share on here. So it's just about me, really. So if you find me at all interesting, make sure to like and subscribe. And then, of course, if you're pregnant, like and subscribe and connect with me on my social media. I would love to connect with you. This is my first pregnancy, so it's all different for me. And you know, most of you who are tuning in might actually be in the same boat. Others, you know, might have had a child already and know better what I'm gonna say than I do. So thanks for tuning in either way. But I plan on basically just updating you guys weekly and making a compilation basically of my first trimester, and hopefully that'll help you guys know what to expect when you're expecting. So I'm in this with you. I really was kind of caught off guard with this pregnancy. My husband and I, we had been trying for over a year and a half, and our spirits were pretty low actually when we found out we were pregnant. We were very surprised, because that it goes the old notion, you'll conceive when you're not trying so hard. And I think that's kind of what happened, is we gave up a little and then it happened. So for those of you who are, you know, remaining optimistic and still trying and maybe trying to get ahead and collecting a bit of information, good for you, and keep your spirits high. God has a plan, and he's going to, you know, keep his promises. And that's my belief, and that's what I've carried with my, you know, faith all along. So if you can hear me above all these locusts, oh my gosh, it's so loud out here. I'm short of breath. I'm 7 weeks. I think I may have mentioned that already. I have major pregnancy brain, so I may be repeating myself quite a bit, but I'm 7 weeks, and I haven't gone yet through my 7th week, so I'll be sharing last week's happenings with you. So I'll start with 6 weeks, and I can even start earlier, because I did find out when I was 4 weeks, 4.5 weeks. So I knew right away when I had missed my period. I've been tracking my cycles, and I knew the day because I put it in my pre-mom pregnancy tracking app. And that's something you can do before you ever conceive, and I would highly suggest it because it really helps you know the days of your cycle and just keep track of everything to the T, your ovulation as well. But that's something that may be old news for you guys that are watching. So I knew the day that I got pregnant because I had been able to track it on that app. And so I was 4.5 weeks when I found out. And needless to say, I really didn't have any symptoms or any other, you know, cause of suspicion other than my cycle was late by a couple days. So, you know, logically, I thought I should take a pregnancy test. And it turned out positive, and I was so happy, and I was so relieved. At the same time, I just gushed, and I got on my knees, and I thanked God. And, you know, reflecting on that 4th week, I had some bloating, which is totally normal, and actually gets much worse through the weeks. And no one told me that, although I have a sister who's had 4 girls, and I've been with her very closely with every pregnancy and every labor and with every child. I don't know why bloating is never really emphasized. But even then, I felt it. So that's something to look forward to. And, you know, the symptoms hadn't evolved very strongly that week. The 5th week, I did start to notice other symptoms. It became very obvious that I felt kind of fatigued, more than usual. And also, there's a thing called pregnancy brain, and it's a very real thing. I guess the baby needs a lot of nutrients, and a lot of that nutrient absorption is derived from our muscles and our storehouses in our body. And as you can imagine, as the baby is developing its nervous system and its brain, it is taking a lot of energy from those places within us. So, needless to say, our brain is inundated with extra energy expenditure, and it makes you a little foggy. So I started experiencing that by week 5. After week 5, I noticed, well, during week 5 and after, into week 6, my breast started to become very tender, very, very tender, way more than PMS, way more than just the usual estrogen spike. It was, you know, tender to the touch, and even still is. Week 5 was the beginning of that. Week 5 also came with a few more things, like increased appetite. Although they say that in your first trimester you don't really need to eat a whole lot more, like your calorie intake shouldn't be all that increased, if at all. Only because the most important thing for you to do in your first trimester as far as diet and nutrition is to make sure that you are taking in as much mineral and vitamin content as the baby needs, which heavily emphasizes a prenatal vitamin which has zinc and folic acid. Folate is actually the better form of absorption when you're looking into folic acid. I take Garden of Life prenatal. It's a gummy that I think is elderberry, all natural, all organic, and I highly recommend it. You can find it on Amazon. It's very easy to order if you're interested. That has pretty much everything that you would need, and I would suggest to take that well before you find out you're pregnant or as soon as you do, because it really helps with the baby's development. And in this trimester, it is vital that you get those minerals and vitamins. So that's the most important thing that has to happen to your diet. You don't necessarily need to eat more because the baby is still so small, but what it's developing is critical to every other aspect of life, and it takes those foundational nutrients and minerals. Sorry about the dog barking in the back. So by the 6th week, it hit me. The pregnancy bomb hit me, and I started feeling not only really bloated, I mean, I'll let you guys look at my stomach now. Like, it's up here a lot. It's down here too. You can tell I'm showing a little. And by week 6, I started to show a little that way too. It looked like I had a full bladder, which for every person it'll be different. But by week 6, I started to feel so bloated that I couldn't actually suck my stomach in, and I still can't. The bloating has not ceased, not one bit. So that's been probably the most annoying thing so far, other than the usual tiredness. So week 5, the tiredness started to get more intense, and finally by week 6, my breasts, first of all, had enlarged at least a cup size. I'm not even joking, you guys. I keep showing my husband, I'm like, do you see these puppies? Like, they are huge, the biggest I've ever had. And you know, guys love it. So, you know, don't be afraid to flaunt it, ladies. It's like one of the best things about pregnancy and what happens to your body in my case. Or, you know, in most cases, is that, you know, your breasts just, they get big and beautiful and they fill out, and it does feel really womanly. So there are certain positives to it. So that's something that I did experience, as well as increased appetite even still. Although your calorie intake doesn't have to go up, I kind of want it to. I'm craving everything, you guys. Not even just specific things, just like, give me food. I just want food, and I want more food, and I want it all the time. And I don't just want it at breakfast, morning, or breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I want breakfast, post-breakfast, pre-lunch, lunch, post-lunch, pre-dinner, dinner, and if I'm not asleep by post-dinner, I'll have something then too. I eat constantly, and you know what? I figured the trick is to actually eat incrementally. Small amounts is really better. It really helps with the highs and lows. If you're experiencing morning sickness, I have started to this week, you know, sort of between the 6th and 7th week is now hitting. So to help with that, make sure you eat in small amounts and just eat consistently. You don't have to eat more necessarily, although you'll feel like it, but eat what you enjoy. Try to eat very healthy, whole foods, meat, protein is very, very important for the baby's development. So if you can sneak in a protein shake, you know, once or twice a day, perfect, you'll be golden. Do that, and bulk up on your minerals and your vitamins, and eat more frequently. That's sort of where I'm at. And then, you know, if you can, I know it's really hard. Everyone works. I work. Try to take a day nap if you can squeeze it in. Rest, you know, just shut your eyes and relax your mind for a few moments if you have the opportunity. It'll really help coping with the tiredness and the fatigue. That's pretty much where I'm at. I've been excited. I haven't gone shopping necessarily for anything specific, but I have been eyeballing baby clothes in the store when I pass by, and I know that it's a thing. You really shouldn't tell anybody before 12 weeks, because 12 weeks is that end of first trimester safe zone to tell everyone. But you may already know this by watching me, but I'm very transparent and I cannot keep a secret to save my life. So I've already told like everyone. I have told them all. And so we're all in this together, basically, is how I see it. You know, with the excitement and the joy and whatever else may come. So I guess I'll let you guys know how this week goes next week. And I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. Hi guys. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Chandler and I'm on my way to work. I am making this video because I'm pregnant, and most likely by the time you're seeing this, I'm in my second trimester. I'm going to document each week if I can, and just some of the things I'm experiencing, some of the things that have happened. So if you're into any of those things, please follow me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Here you can kind of tell I'm a little colorless. I don't have a lot of energy. I'm in my 8th week. So yeah, the 8th week, it's been interesting so far. I'm only a couple days in. But since I haven't experienced it in its fullness, I'll probably just go over the 7th week today. The 7th week was the hardest so far, and I'm not not sure if there's a peak in your first trimester where, you know, your hormones surge and then after a certain week they kind of level out, or if it's just all the way through your first trimester that happens up until like the 12th week and then you start to feel better. I am not that well versed. This is my first pregnancy, so it does feel also different to me, and I'm just sort of going with each day, sort of like not knowing what to anticipate. But as each day goes by, I think, oh, this day isn't like the last. Each day is different. So week 7 was different than week 6. Week 6, I was so tired. Week 7, I feel like I had slightly more energy. I wasn't going to bed at 8 o'clock at night, and I was able to, you know, cook some dinners during the week, which week 6 I was not able to. So that was different. And week 7, I also felt a little bit more nausea. Though things like breast tenderness went down, and sort of bloating went down also, which were major issues in week 6. So gradual differences. It didn't happen overnight, but maybe by the end of the week I felt a difference. Also, the constipation and diarrhea, I know, is not fun for anybody in their first trimester. I haven't experienced so much of diarrhea, but much more along the lines of constipation. I sort of err on that side also. I have a very sensitive stomach when it comes to cheeses and breads and fried foods, and all of those have been irritating me a lot. Like, very, very sensitive to that stuff. So I've stayed away from hard cheeses altogether. I've eaten a lot more cottage cheese. I've also gotten some yogurts from the store. You know, healthy sort of fermented foods are really great for the gut at this time. And so I've tried to bulk up on those things. But that's been an issue that I've had to sort of tackle head on, like each day, because each day I struggle with it. I've gotten some, I think it's selenia, and also in the Smooth Move teas. I think that's the main ingredient, but it's just a really easy way of taking a very gentle, like stool softener agent to help move those things through. And I know it's so not glamorous. I can't believe that I'm actually gonna post this online, because give me, like, it was just a few years ago where I would think, like, I don't want anyone to know that I even make a bowel movement. I would never post that. But now, I mean, it's just like everybody deals with it. I want to connect on a real, natural level with real humans, real mothers, real women. So I'm not going to really hold anything back, and if there were anything more graphic than that, I probably would share that as well. But really nothing quite as you know, embarrassing as that. My breast tenderness went down. I haven't felt quite as tender, and also they felt really engorged in week 6. Week 7, they stopped engorging so much, and they'd still had the tenderness, and now I'm kind of not as tender. So my bump has grown a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit more firm, not quite as low as my uterus, but maybe a little bit higher, like just underneath my belly button, which was higher than I expected, actually. I kind of expected the uterus to be the part really down low that gets full fast, but it's more like, you know, right underneath your belly button area, and that's seeming to kind of pop this week and last. So that's my update. Not really a whole lot more. I feel nauseous here and there. I did kind of touch on the nausea a little bit, but it's really not that bad this week. What I do feel though is kind of just like, I don't want to say it like I feel sick. Not quite altogether. So it doesn't feel like a cold, but I do have like a stuffy nose. I don't feel fluish, but my body aches sometimes, and I don't have a virus, but I get kind of a fever and I start to chill, or I feel really hot. So those are some symptoms that I haven't heard of as frequently that I've noticed, but I know your immunity system is compromised when you're in your first trimester especially, and so you have to be careful of certain foods, like staying away from deli meats and fish and things that would naturally carry a lot of bacteria, or especially mercury and heavy metals, for various reasons, but one of them being because your immunity is not quite as strong. And so I may have picked something up at my house. I work typically very remotely, and so I don't go out a whole lot unless it's to the grocery store or, shopping around town here and there. It could have happened, but what I think is that it's actually just my own body's response to having to, be in nutrient deficit, essentially. Trying to adjust to these things may be taking a little bit of a toll. I am still kind of tired, not quite as tired as like last week, but just going through those motions is really expensive on your energy. And so that's what I think. I don't think that I necessarily caught something, but I think that these are all just symptoms that are experienced because your body's working so hard and overtime and all those things. Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in again. This week is week 9, and as you can tell, it's not the easiest week so far. It's got some highlights though that I'll be sharing. But yeah, this week has not been easy. Ever since the end of week 8, the nausea has really increased and started to feel like gaggy. The nasal congestion has gotten a little bit worse, so I feel a little bit sick, like I've got a cold or allergies. And then just certain things, like I'm finding a lot of food aversions. I've been eating a lot of chicken because a lot of other meats don't sound that great. There's a lot of things, I guess, that come into my mind when I'm eating meat. Like if there's anything that tastes just a little bit uncooked, or if I see too much red, I'm feeling like very picky about food. Fortunately, I've got this boutique ginger ale. It's like $2 a piece. Totally unnecessary, but it seems to be helping. That, and I have like ginger chews. I think I mentioned it before. I have like these hard candies that are ginger candies. And then, just like eating frequently, although it's hard because that's not what you want to do. You don't want to eat, and everything doesn't sound great until maybe like a certain point in the day, and then you have a strong craving, and that's really the only time I've enjoyed eating. So that's just, like what's on the top of my mind right now, because I'm in bed. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm more tired than I've ever been. I can't even believe this, honestly. Like, it's not the worst I've ever felt, but it's so surprising. It's so surprising that it can be so consistent. With like the ups and downs that I felt, it's just stayed ups and downs for weeks now. And so that is like the consistent part, is just like feeling like waves just coming over me all day. I haven't thrown up yet though. And you know, this could be TMI for a lot of viewers, but I mean, if you're used to following me, you know that I have a very like no filter, you know, part of me that likes to share weird stuff. And like at first I was constipated, and then I had like diarrhea, and my stomach was constantly bloated and upset, and now I've noticed that it's slowed. Like my movements have slowed down, but they're more consistent. They're not like, I'm not super constipated, it's not diarrhea, it's pretty normal, but I'm going less often, like every other day, which, you know, for some people that's normal, and I've gone through phases in my life where I've done that too, so it's not like a huge shocker, but I've just noticed it kind of leveling out and settling there. And the bloating has kind of gone down too. My kitty knows I don't feel good. But there were some highlights this week, and big ones too. Big ones too. So we went to the doctor, and we had our first ultrasound today, which is probably why I'm a freaking wreck tonight, because it was a 3.5 hour appointment. And you guys, when I say that you're limited on energy in the first trimester, like you really are limited. You don't have much in reserves. Even during the appointment, I started to get like lightheaded and not feel good. Despite all of the excitement and all of the happiness that came along with it, it was like quite a conundrum. But we were in there and we had our first ultrasound, and actually it went really well. And I'm really happy because we heard the heartbeat, and that's really all I wanted. I just wanted to hear the heartbeat. I just wanted to know that it was okay. And to be honest, I went through a lot of fear the past few weeks, thinking that it wasn't going to be okay. And the reason being, first of all, I worry a lot with certain things, you know, and we've had our struggles with fertility and conceiving, and so first thing that comes to mind is, what if it's not real, or what if it doesn't last, or what if it, you know, what if there's something wrong and I don't know it? So obviously those things got to me, and I think it's just like because of our past that I have gone in just prepared for it going either way. If we didn't hear the heartbeat today, I knew I was prepared. I had prayed up and I made sure my faith was in the right place. And I knew that I would be shaken, but I wouldn't be broken. So I made sure that I was there before even going in today, which sounds kind of bad, but I think it runs through every person's mind, because until you're at 12 weeks, they say, anything can happen. But when we were in there and she was doing the ultrasound, she put the little remote on my belly, and right away you could see it. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like it's there, it's real. And then it wasn't but 3 or 4 seconds after that, she goes, oh, there's the heartbeat, has a strong heart. So I was just so grateful, and I thought I might be more emotional, you know, the first time for the first ultrasound, like seeing my baby, but I didn't cry. I thought for a moment I might, but I was actually just more enamored and just completely like taken back and just like astonished that this little tiny thing, just less than an inch, is like changing my life. And I just got major boy vibes. When I was looking at it, you could see its profile and its little button nose, and it's so tiny. It's so crazy because it has a little button nose, it has little hands, and the hands were by the head, and it's got this like little round body, and you could see the little sac that where it's getting its nutrients from, and it just seemed like just so tiny. and so mighty at the same time. Like beautiful, beautiful experience. And Kyle and I, my husband, were just looking at each other like he just like briefly, like, I can't even believe this is such a cool experience. And so, that was the real highlight of the first trimester, like by far. And, I pray that you all get to have that experience too, because, having that connection, that first contact with your baby is so cool. But to have faith in God, and God's plan is great, and He's so good that, even if it doesn't happen this way that you think, being prepared and having your faith in the right place is really important, because God makes good on His promises. And, I don't post this to trigger anyone or to make anyone feel bad. I was so happy that it happened that way for me today. Hi everybody, and welcome back for my bump date and my trimester 1 coverage. Last week was kind of a mix because I was just exiting my 8th week and I was covering what happened in the 8th week. But the day I was filming was actually the beginning of my 9th week, and it was kind of an exciting day. I had my first prenatal appointment. So I covered a lot of information about that there. Since then, week 9 was pretty easy, except for a few ups and downs. When I was filming, I was a wreck, and that was definitely rock bottom. Every day after that got a little bit easier. I was still very low on energy in the beginning of the week, and toward the end of the week, I started to feel a little uptick in my energy. My nauseousness wasn't as bad, although I still get the ick feeling here and there with certain foods at different times. It's not necessarily all the time that, I have an aversion to meat anymore, but certain meats at certain times, especially at the end of the day, it's hard for me to feel hungry for dinner. It's hard for me to feel like eating a lot. I just want really light foods. So needless to say, I've been eating a lot of fruit and things that are like sugary and sweet and tart because they kind of quench my craving and don't fill me up. Peanut butter, rice cakes, like I've been eating a lot of those for snacks with peanut butter and almond butter on them. And, it could be just like the nuts and the grains. Maybe there's something in them that I need. Although I'm taking all my supplements still, and DHA and all of that good stuff. So I think I'm getting everything I need. It's just the food aversions that are driving my cravings in the opposite direction. So week 9 lightened up, and I started to not feel as nauseous, and I started to not feel as sick. I don't mean to confuse those two words, because sick and nauseous kind of gets thrown around a lot of the time, but actually you're immunocompromised when you're in your first trimester, especially. And so you're more likely to get little bugs and colds, and your allergies might kick in more, and things like that might actually make you feel under the weather. And week 8 and week 9, I definitely was fighting something. I go into the work place through the week, and so I might have picked something up there, which, if you're a working mom and you work throughout the week and you're not fully remote, just prepare for that. There's really nothing you can do other than eat well, stay hydrated, and try to just keep your distance from people who aren't feeling well. Your energy will come back, even if it takes a little longer than usual. Yeah, so that was week 9, and honestly, it wasn't that hard. Fortunately, I'm having a pregnancy where I feel the baby's being pretty easy on me. I complain, and sometimes I feel sensitive, and my emotions have been here and there, but I haven't really snapped a whole lot. I haven't done anything that's like super out of character with my husband. You know, we haven't argued, and you know, fortunately it's been pretty easy on us both. I haven't had to, you know, apologize for being a monster too much. So I feel grateful for that, and I'm sure he does too. And I would really urge you guys, whether you're in, you know, your 4th or 5th week, or whether you're in your 30th week, to consider a birth plan that is quote unquote natural or medicine free. It's never too late, and you can always change your mind. It's your body and it's your birth. I would suggest reading a couple of books. One is the Mama Natural Week by Week Guide to Pregnancy and Childbirth. Although her name is Mama Natural and she does promote natural medicine-free labor, she does, however, go week by week over certain things that you really need to prep and consider during pregnancy either way. So she talks not only about medicine-free labor and birth, but about really just taking care of your body the natural way during pregnancy, and trying to, you know, have a very easy experience, no matter how you plan on birthing. So I've been thinking insurance and hospital and medicine and, you know, and birth and postnatal care and, you know, like everything that can come into play during birth and after, when there are so many things that you really can and need to consider within your first trimester. Your first trimester, you feel icky, you feel somewhat sad and emotional, or you can feel low on energy, and you could also be scared and unsure of what to do still. One of the things that I would suggest is to get a book like this, where you have someone who has went through quite a few challenges herself, had a few babies as well, as a result of, you know, turning her life around and becoming a natural mama. So it's very relatable, and I really think that if you're considering big ideas and you don't know where to start, this book is going to help you so much. There's another book here. I'm big on reading. I love books. If you don't love reading, then, you know, Mama Natural says on her first, on the book cover, that she's the #1 natural pregnancy channel on YouTube. So go there. I'm sure she has a ton of advice for you guys there. Otherwise, you can probably find some of these books on Audible if you like listening instead. But this is Ina May's Guide to Childbirth. This is so good. It's so good because, and I'll tell you why. This Ina May is, first of all, she's a renowned midwife with many, many years of experience on her own, and she lends in detail so much advice in the second half of this book that if you just had one book to read and to prepare yourself for your experience and for birth, this is the one. This is the one, right? There's just, if you have no other thing, if you don't have the internet, if you don't have access to Wi-Fi, get this book, right? That's how I feel about this book. Even as I am looking at Mama Natural, it would be hard for me to choose because they're both so good. But if I had to, it would be this one, because at the end of the day, it is about you birthing, you giving birth to this baby, and you preparing yourself for that moment or those few hours of time, right? She has incredible client stories in here that she herself has worked with and have lended their testimonies. So the first half of this book is nothing but birth stories, which in the beginning, I was like, do I really need that? Is that going to be really good to read, a bunch of other people's experiences, that may not even apply or be relatable to me? But when you read it, it's in the person's voice because it's truly from their own mouth, their experience, and their experience working with Ina May. Some of them have had hospital births, some of them have had home births, had complications. If anybody's has lack of experience with birth, if you don't come from a big family, I have 4 nieces and I've been there for every one of their births. So I know kind of something from watching my sister. She had them all in a hospital and I got to see them all play out so differently. Fortunately, all very healthy and positive birth experiences for her. But I myself know that I would really like to explore a more alternative, quote unquote alternative, natural way, possibly home birth or birthing center. So that's where I'm inexperienced and I don't really know anyone else who's done that. For others who haven't been around a baby in a long time or have never seen a birth, this is a great book. Highly recommend. Yeah, I guess that's it for the 9th week. I'm gonna cut it now and I hope you guys enjoyed this update. I will see you next week. Hello and welcome to the last part of my first trimester. Oh my gosh, it seems like it's gone by really fast and slow. As you can tell, I'm in bed again after a day of working. I'm drained. I'm just drained. And there have been weeks where it's been easier, and there's been weeks where it's not been as easy. Every week I've learned a lot though, and I'll just go over a few things that I learned this week from my books, which I told you about last week. I've gotten a little bit further each day in them, and it's hard to stay, first of all, it's hard to stay motivated to continue to educate yourself when you already feel so overwhelmed by all of the information you're consuming. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but I do. I sure do. I feel like I learn so much and I barely get a grasp on the things that I learn when more information just comes flooding in. So it's a constant effort to evolving and learning. But I guess your first trimester that's what it's kind of about, is it's not necessarily about the bigger things yet. It's more about the logistics and understanding and sort of organizing your thoughts and the process and communicating with your partner and getting on the same page with people and your doctor, and it's a whole thing. And not to take the miraculous beauty of pregnancy out of it, but it sometimes and more often than not doesn't feel so miraculous or beautiful. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm not having any food aversions or real strong cravings except for milk and dairy products like ice cream. And this actually started, I think, 2 weeks ago. I may have mentioned it then, but it's really increased. And I thought I should follow the craving and do a little bit of research. And apparently, as your baby is growing, there's a lot of organs and things that it's developing which require calcium. So it's really important for the mom to have a sufficient amount of calcium during this time. And I have started taking a calcium tablet 3 times a day along with my prenatal regimen, which I mentioned in week 5, I think was the first week that I covered when I found out I was pregnant. And I had mentioned Garden of Life, the elderberry gummies, for the prenatal supplement because it has folate in it, which is more digestible and absorbent than folic acid. There's definitely a big difference in that, and it's a very highly discussed topic during pregnancy. You have to make sure you're getting in your folate. Definitely make sure you're doing that. And then I would recommend taking calcium on top of just consuming it in your regular food, because you really don't, it's hard to measure when you're just eating what you're supposed to be taking. You can at least measure it if you're taking a supplement and know that you are in fact getting enough. So yeah, I've been craving milk and dairy, but that's really as much as I've noticed the difference for this week, within this week and last. Other than that, my energy seems to be really up and down. I'm not just tired like I was before, and I'm not just okay like I was way before, but I'm somewhere in the middle, like tired-ish, okay-ish. Like I could definitely take a nap right now, but I'm gonna push myself a little bit to go to the gym and to take a walk on the treadmill. Hello, and welcome back to week 12. So I am one day away from my 13th week. So that means, y'all, that I'm starting my second trimester tomorrow. And based off of what I've read, I really can't wait because, and the thing is that it's not been too hard. And so I'm grateful, feel very blessed that I haven't been so worn down. I haven't been too sick. I haven't, needed much other than rest, good food, and a shoulder to cry on a couple of the days. So it's been relatively easy. And, the only thing is that I've had a lack of energy, and I'm hoping, based off of what I've read, that comes back in the second trimester. Everyone always says it's the best. Everyone always says, oh, that's when you're gonna get the pregnancy glow that they all talk about. So let's hope. But today we're gonna recap week 12. I did mention this, that it was coming up in the last week, but we had our sonogram appointment, or NT exam, where they do the ultrasound, take measurements of the baby, and make sure it's all well and in good health. Fortunately, and thank you God, we had a perfect outcome. We heard the baby's heartbeat. We took measurements. Everything was in great proportion and developing really well. Also, the profile was just the cutest profile. It's amazing because it's still only 3 or so inches, but it's like just this powerful little life, and you can see so much of it already. It's just amazing. So 10 fingers, 10 toes, as my husband would say. Great health, bill of health. And we are so happy about that. One thing, unfortunately, they weren't able to tell, which was probably because the baby was being a little bit shy, was the gender. So, they tell you at your 12-week appointment, that's really the earliest that you'll be able to tell the gender. And we were really hoping, we had started to plan a gender reveal for the weekend following, but that's probably not going to happen at this point. Kyle and I also could have taken a blood test, which I know most people do, to determine the sex, with 99.9% accuracy, but we decided to forego the test. We didn't feel it was necessary. And that's an option as well. You don't have to take the test. And so that's what we did, and I guess we'll have to wait. That's just the next best thing, is maybe we'll find out when they're 16 weeks. My family has always said they believe it's a girl. Kyle and I, based off of the ultrasound and just the feelings that we've had, believe it may be a boy. And so we'll see. We're very excited. I would show you the ultrasound photos, but I don't know where they are right now. And we just got back from a little bit of a mini vacation, so we're a little disorganized. They're around here somewhere though. I did share my pregnancy announcement online, and it was just cool to see so many family and friends come out and, you know, comment and share their congratulations. That's really the highlight of the week, was just being able to share it with everyone. I mentioned in the very, very beginning, like I think I was in my 6th week, that we had already told everyone, and that was a stretch of the truth. I had told my family, Kyle had told his family, and you know, a bunch of our friends knew, the close ones and things like that. But really it was, you know, sharing it publicly is like just taking things to a next level. Like, and you know, the extended family comes in, and all of your high school friends, you know, and it's just really nice to reconnect with people on a different level, especially the ones who have had kids already and who know a thing about parenting. So that was really nice. And you know, everything in my first trimester, I can honestly say, has just been a blessing. I've complained, I've been really hard on myself, it's been triggering, gaining a little bit of weight, and you know, my emotions have been up and down, but truly and honestly, it is so well worth the sacrifice, and I would do it a million times over. You know, just to have experiences like this one this week, where I got to see my baby and it growing and feel that love and connection with it. So I can't wait to share more updates, but I'm gonna make this short and sweet, you guys. The 12th week has been nothing but happiness and a little bit of fatigue, but that's totally expected. Other than that, it's just been really simple. And you know, I was kind of overloaded with information before, and I think you could tell that in how I was talking. I was just like a lot of things going through my mind. I really started to slow down, and maybe it's because my body is starting to slow down and really take in what's happening to it. So I'm just following it and following the process, and digesting a little bit more every day, and you know, working one thing out at a time and taking it step by step. And that's my best advice to you if this is your first time. So anyway, hope you liked this, hope that this helped you, and you know, I guess comment and let me know your thoughts, where you are in your pregnancy, what your experience was like, if you had the same symptoms as I did. You know, that would be really fun if we could like create a community here. I'm just starting back my page from being something totally other than who I am now, so it'll be cool to kind of reintroduce myself. You can introduce yourself to me, and don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your pregnant friends. Share with, you know, moms who are going through this. I would love that. But thanks again, guys, and I will see you in the 2nd trimester. Bye.